Welcome to the Slightly Serious Sign Podcast. We got this sweet new studio. I don't know if you've seen it yet. It looks like we're on the set of Between Two Ferns, but hopefully it won't be as awkward as that one is. We're doing a collab podcast with the extended Gamut. It says it literally right over my head, so hopefully you figured that out by now. Yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. Thanks for having us, guys. We appreciate it.
Let's do it.
Okay, here we are with a collaboration between IT Supplies, or IT Supplies when it's known by me. And we just did hear what IT Supplies was. It's
Ink and toner.
Ink and toner.
Ink and toner.
I thought it was IT, like IT support, but it's ink and toner. And then Wensco, and we are direct competitors. So the people that are watching, do we get along with our direct competitors? Obviously, we're sitting right here, and there's been no fist fights or nothing yet.
Not yet.
But we're direct competitors in some markets with some machines. I mean, we lost a deal not too long ago to you guys. I think it was a 2 Epson deal. Probably because our sales rep sucked, but he's probably going to listen to this too.
He will.
But I also learned that you guys put out other videos too, and a different sales rep, Craig Gray, says, I watch all their videos. So he obviously watches your videos.
Oh,
so.
that's good.
But anyways, we're going to talk about the difference between their business and our business. We're obviously more towards a sign man. They're more towards a...
Like photo, fine art, print on demand. It's like
It's more distinguished.
Don't insult their customers.
I don't think our customers would disagree with you, though. That might be the problem.
Yeah,
I would say sometimes it's people that find us, it's color critical applications. They're trying to work through workflow. It can be a little more complex versus, and they're printing, right? We're taking graphic images and putting them on something, whereas you guys are doing that, but also doing things that are tied to signs.
Well, that, and at least sign guys, I mean, 70% of our stuff's going up in the air or away from you, where you're not like here, you're looking right at it.
Yeah.
We're not always looking right at, like, you're looking at it, but like you can get away with a lot every foot you get away from the sign. And think of the sign man, nobody's looking. I mean, there are some, but most of them are either up in the air or away from you. Like,
yeah.
So if 26 years ago IT Supplies was founded, and the IT, it was Ink and Toner Supplies, and that was a available web domain. Wensco was founded in
1937. It's Wholesale Electric Neon Supply Company.
Wholesale Electric Neon
Supply
Sign
Supply
Co. Okay, so it's not someone's last name.
Nope. No. So we were big in the electrical side of the business to start. So
that's all there was.
Neons and lights and paint, basically. When it started, it was people painting signs and like putting fluorescent bulbs to light them up. And
even channel letter coils were all neon, where now they're 99% LED.
Yeah.
So it was just different. Like, you had to be an artist. You couldn't be a sign guy just about without being an artist, because you had to paint it.
Yeah.
And computers kind of took it over a little bit. You still need to be somewhat of an artist, but like not like you used to be. Like, I mean, if you couldn't paint something, you couldn't paint your name and be smooth. You didn't usually make it. Or you had to be an electrician or very crafty. Like, there's no way I could have been a sign guy before computers. No way, because I'm not nearly talented enough, and I can't build anything. I can't even build a birdhouse. Birds would die if I built birdhouses.
You said on one of the podcasts that the sign guys are just people who do arts and craft for a living.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Sign guys are adults that do arts and crafts for a living.
And we've had those stickers printed, and so many people picked them up and laughed at them because they were like, it's pretty much true. I literally just joked. We have classes coming up, so I sat in our demo room, and I was printing and cutting these files out, and people kept coming in like, what are you doing? I said, today's my arts and crafts day. I should have brought my kids in today, because literally I was just cutting, and that's basically what it is. But it's different now. Like, I obviously, that's what I did the whole day, and it's not hard, right? I'm cutting straight lines and I'm running a printer, super simple, versus before you had to hand paint signs and bend neon. So you needed a physical skill to be able to do that, versus now you can get away with a lot more with technology. So,
So how much, I don't know if you even want to talk about this, but we'll see, but how much of the business now is like manufactured signs, that old school LED, all that, and how much of it is like printed, digital, that kind of thing that you guys service?
It's, the sign business is about 50-50. When it comes to what's growing the fastest, our digital media is growing faster than the other sides of it, but the other part is still a big part of it. And that's why we don't have as many ups and downs, is because there's so much. Like if electric's down, digital might be up, or vice versa. Digital's down, electrics might be up, and a little bit goes in seasons. Electric obviously goes in seasons, especially in Michigan or even Illinois. Like you're not gonna be way up in a bucket truck in a snowstorm, trying to fix a sign. So, and then time change affects us a ton too, because nobody knows their signs out, because they leave, it's light out. They come in, it's light out, and all of a sudden when they're coming in, it's dark out, and they're leaving, it's dark out. All of a sudden everybody recognizes my sign, and then
so you have like a busy
we have a busy season both times. And then it's not normally just bulbs either. It's like, they start looking at it, I'm like, man, it's getting faded, I should probably get a new sign. So
this was a question as I was thinking about your business that we aren't a part of. Like, so how would a sign shop ever have enough stock of supplies for a sign? Like, I'm thinking like, well, who's designing what the sign's going to look like? And then who determines what parts go into it? And like, how does that all work?
I think one of the main things with that is I think what's important on our side of the business is to make sure we have reps in the field for that, because I think there's a lot of times you just don't know what you don't know, right? So if you bring it to like one of our reps, and they might not know the answer, but if you're like, hey, this is what we're trying to do, like how should we go about that? If they don't know the answer, we have the resources to get it to them, because it might be something you've done 100 times and you're like, this one is just slightly different, right?
Mm-hmm.
I need to light it differently. I need to put it up differently. It's not going to work the same as it did before. And there's a billion different materials in the market, right? So like polycarbonate acrylic is a great example, right? You can get 2 sheets. If you cut them and put them side by side, nobody would be able to tell the difference, right? But they have 2 different applications. They're both clear plastic sheets, right? They're going to look the same, but which one you use is different per application. You might be using one for the last 10 years and find out later that the other one is actually a better use for it, but you wouldn't know if you didn't go and ask. So a lot of times I think it's people that have done it a long time will just know, right? Like, okay, we're doing this, so we're going to use this product with this face and this cabinet. Or they'll reach out and ask, like, hey, we're trying to do this application. What do you guys recommend? Yeah. And we can get our vendors involved or people that have been doing it a long time and point them in the right direction.
But the reality is it's not, I don't want to unsimplify it because it's complicated, but it's aluminum, LEDs, acrylic, the glues that go with it, the trim cap that goes on it. When you're talking like a lit sign, like even like a Best Buy letter, like there's very simple components, but it's more complex than that. But like, when you're talking about it, you need to have aluminum, you need to have the acrylic, you need to have the LEDs, you need to have the trim cap. And after that, then it's like, okay, what style, what brand, what application do I need on that? But that's a simplified version of what they need.
Yeah, it's basically a rotation of the same 4 or 5 parts, right? For 90% of your signs, right? Like a Taco Bell sign versus a Best Buy sign, right? They look completely different. They use probably 90% of the same parts, right? So it's just a slightly different application for the same amount of products. And some people will get more creative, right? You'll get like channel letters, you'll get like carved signs, or you'll get just a square sign, which is the most popular here stateside at least. So it kind of depends on what sign shop you go to and how creative they can be with it versus what the customer wants to. So but
we always talk about when we're like out with our families, we're walking around and how many things we point at that like, oh yeah, like that's printed and our families are like, all right, shut up. But I can't imagine, I mean, every sign you see, you have to be like,
you should see when we're all together. So me and the 3 boys all work together. So like we're all
you and Tater and Tristan,
Tater,
Tyler?
Tristan, Tyler. We all, so like you walk into Burger King, you're like, you see the little sign thing, like bend it. And I mean, I don't want to say we're opposed to some signs getting broken, but like hailstorms are our friend.
Yeah.
Tornadoes are our friends, because what do you got to do? You got to get new signs, right? Yeah. But when you're sitting on the counter, like, oh, that's, we for the most part know what it is, or we quiz each other.
Yeah.
So we definitely spend a lot of time. You just see something you haven't seen before, and you're just like staring at it. You're like,
you're touching it. People are wondering why you're touching it.
Yeah, how'd they light that? How in the world did they set it up? They're like, you don't see any mounting screws, and you're like, oh, nice work. I can't see any of the hardware. Like, that's well done. Nobody else cares at all. Right. Which is the joke we make with our shops. Like, right, when you go in there and they're like nitpicking this tiniest thing, and I'd be like, me and you are the only people that are ever going to see this. And even if I saw it, and like a lot of times they'll nitpick something, and it's going to be like a billboard, right? And you're talking like, nobody's going to even see this within 40 feet of the sign, right? Nobody's even going to be able to get close enough to see any of those. So you wouldn't really worry about it versus your guys' is right. Like a lot of times you're getting within a foot of it, right? Yeah. So it's very different than the majority of our business, which is, we joke about it, it's as a 50-footer or 55 miles an hour. Looks great from 50 feet or looks great at 55 miles an hour. Either way, it'll pass.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the joke we run. Like, a lot of times you're not getting a real detailed look at it. So you're trying to get, as bright as you can, as bold as you can, and as good quality as you can. But the quality isn't nearly as important as it is for the stuff you guys are doing.
We also see the crappy signs too. And I'll say it right now. Packing tape, markers, crayons, and cardboard are not sign supplies, people.
It sounds like arts and crafts, though.
Yeah, but it's not like, we do it at our shop, and I'm like, we'll put a sign on the door, put it up with tape, and it'll be handwritten. I'm like, guys, like, that stuff is not sign supplies. I mean, at an open house, we tried to tape something to a signicade. Like, guys, it's not a sign supply. Packing tape is not a sign supply.
But duct tape is, as long as you can't see it.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing we have capabilities of doing anything in our shop, and we'll still do that stupid stuff. And I always get mad at it. Like, they put a Scotch tape, handwrite a sign up. Like, you could have printed that and
applied it in 2 seconds. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So one area that we might have overlap, I was just thinking, is in like color, right? So those signs, where they're going to be viewed at a distance and at 50 miles an hour, that Best Buy yellow has to be perfect. Do you guys have a lot of customers that are like really?
Yeah, and we do have. I mean, we joke about you guys, but we do have people that do that kind of stuff, and like can really help that, make sure that the color's dialed in, all that kind of stuff. I mean, we obviously sell Onyx too, so we do have.
So you're nerds. You guys are nerds, actually.
A portion of us.
We direct you to them.
A portion of us.
You have nerds.
So we do have people that do that. I mean, that's why our sales reps listen to your videos and stuff like that.
Thank you.
We do get into that. We do get into like a lot of that. Like, it has to be perfect.
Yeah.
Home Depot orange has to be Home Depot orange. And same thing. Coca-Cola red has to be Coca-Cola red.
Yeah.
So
that's where Roland's been making a big push, is in those, like, right, they're coming out with orange and green and all those specific cartridges, because they're running into specific issues, right? Like Home Depot orange is a great example, right? Where, like, it's not an easy color to hit it right within their specs. So we run into it frequently enough that it comes out. I mean, any of those big corporations are all going to have specific Holiday Inn, their green, Coca-Cola red, Home Depot orange. All of those you have to be within spec if you're going to put those signs up. So we deal with it on the print side, but we even deal with it on the substrate side, right? Some of those they're getting them pre-done before they even get them. They're not applying them at all. So our manufacturers are actually going in and getting it within that specific spec that they need and sending out the samples to the customer. And then our guys are going in and fabricating it. So we run to that as well.
It's weird you said Holiday Inn green, because like, you guys don't see it, but we sell a lot of cut vinyl too. Well, a lot of the cut vinyl names are like Holly Green. What is it? Really? Holiday Green. You have Chevron blue, you have Pepsi blue. Like, a lot of our colors are named after, they made a specific color for that specific big brand.
Fortune.
So, so you see, like, we have, I don't know how many Avery colors there are, 100 and some colors.
Yep.
But some of them are like the same colors across every, like, 3M, everybody has the same color. Holiday Green.
Do you carry IT Supplies red in your warehouse?
No.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we do. It's Alpha Red.
Alpha red.
Alpha red.
It does look similar. It is funny. It does feel like, I mean, we're in the business of printing, right? So it makes sense, but you'll find it funny if you walk through, like we just talked about ISA in the last podcast, but a lot of the exhibitors have the same, like, 3 colors basically with all their logos, right? So I just find it funny. Like, it's all like very dominant colors, and it's because that's what we do, right? We're CMYK across the board. That's just the business we're in. So a lot of people are like, yeah, we pretty much have CMYK logos because that's the business we're in. It makes sense. So.
I think it's funny that the sign guys, that their logos clip art. You couldn't come up with something else. I'm not going to call anybody out Auto Skins. Like, they're a big shop, and his logo's clip art.
Yeah.
Like, everybody can use your logo, buddy.
I think that comes across just like...
there goes one of his sponsors.
Yeah. Well,
Kyle, I love you.
Yeah. It's like mechanics will never work on their own cars, right? Like, sign guys never want to work on their own signs. So you'll just, like, go to a sign shop. You've been going there for years. They've never had a sign on their building. And you're like... Guys, you literally do this every day, and they're like, when do I have time to make my own sign? I'm way too busy. So.
Or you pull in, it's all cracked. Like, the whole sign's cracked. Yeah. It's like, you're trying to sell signs. Like, how old is that sign?
Well, isn't that the old, what is it, the cobblers?
The cobbler's kids have no shoes.
Yeah.
That's the same thing. Sign Man's the same thing. Like,
Sign Man doesn't have any signs.
Sign Man.
Yeah,
he's the same way. If he does have a sign, usually it's crappy, or I won't mention names, but there's one where it was so faded, you couldn't see what the sign said. And it's just like, Are you serious? And they're a huge shop. They're they're in 100,000 square feet. Can't read his own sign outside his door.
Sign man.
The sign man.
I had a question. You mentioned Roland, and so we don't sell Roland printers. I would be curious to hear your, like, we have perceptions on what Roland is. So we both sell Epson, so we have some overlap. But how would you compare Roland to Epson, or like what are some things you like about Roland that you would share with our audience?
Roland is a very good. They're good all the way through, but they really help in when you're in startup because it's print cut.
Yeah,
it's very easy. VersaWorks is very easy. VersaWorks versus Onyx is very easy. Like even I can do VersaWorks. So.
Oh wow, jeez.
Yeah, it's.
You don't believe it? Yeah.
They should put age limits on it. Like they should say, hey, VersaWorks is 8 to something, and Onyx,
it's a Lego set.
Onyx is like 21 to like you got to be a little, so. But they're getting better at, they did do some more pro series and stuff like that where they would compete a little bit with it. But yeah, it's a print cut, so it's easy to use.
Made to be easy.
Yeah.
They know the sign man market super well. I think that's where their big benefit is, right? Like Epson comes from the other side of the business down to sign man.
Yeah.
Versus Roland came into basically that was their whole goal. Like we're trying to sell you a printer for this specific application. So it's just super simple, right? Like you can just go, you can start a sign shop, just put a Roland in there and it will work for the most part, right? You can do vinyl, you can cut, it's all in one thing. You don't need anything, other equipment to be brought in. So that's kind of the main benefit with them.
Yeah.
Epson, same thing, right? We both sell Epson, but theirs are mostly print-only devices, meaning you're already having to start with 2 pieces of equipment. So we end up with a lot of our smaller shops having Rolands just to start, and they'll stay in that family, right? They'll go from 1 to 2 to 3, which you guys see on the Epson side with fleets too. But rather than converting to a print cut device, they'll just be like, well, this one works, so I'm just going to, instead of getting another print cut or print and then cut, I'm just going to get another Roland because this one worked well for me in the past.
And a lot of our Roland dealers, like the Roland people that have it, they still have cutters now because they've gotten too busy to be able to print cut on one device.
Yeah.
But then they'll turn around and buy another Roland because it's convenient. It's never stopped working. So it's like just a legacy type thing that keeps going on, even though they don't need print cut. But they don't buy the print only. Like they sell very little print only. Yeah. Like even people that have a cutter sitting there that they only use the cutter, never printed with this, they won't buy the print only. Yeah, when they still buy the print cut.
They don't
It's so funny.
They don't cut on their print and cut, but then when they bought a new one, they would still like to have the feature, even though they'll never use it.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's just the comfort feature of
Sign
it.
man.
Yeah.
Sign man.
You never know when you might need an extra cutter, Always good to have redundancy. So if you already have one, you might as well have 2.
Can you cut on it with something you haven't printed on it?
Yeah. Yep.
So it could be a backup cutter.
Yeah. Yeah, it could do everything. But yeah, I think the other main benefit, like we've been selling Roland, I don't know how long, a long time.
Since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
And
1930.
The Versa, whatever that was, the Versa Cam. I don't know.
Yeah,
I remember the cartridges and stuff like.
Yeah,
you could paint it faster.
Yeah, but the big thing we've noticed, just we've had them so long, is that they just get a lot of repeat customers, right? We rarely get customers that are mad. They'll come, and we just talked about in the last one, but they'll come up with new technology, and sometimes that'll always have issues, but they usually fix it pretty quickly, and people that buy them typically come back and buy more of them.
Yeah.
So
a big selling point is, like, we can't fix Epsons, right? Neither you guys can't, we can't. We can fix Rolands.
Yeah.
So like we're right there. If we put it in, especially if we put it in, and you call it's down, we're gonna be right there. Yeah. We're gonna have you up. You don't have to wait for someone to fly in. You don't have to wait for anything. And they've been pretty tried and true.
Yeah.
So we don't know how tried and true Epson are because we don't really get a lot of those calls. Like we're assuming that they are. But we know
we've never had an Epson break actually.
Perfect.
They're 100% reliability.
Near perfect record. They've never called us for a repair.
All right, here's what we're gonna do.
We've never had to service an Epson.
Yeah, we've never had either.
Neither have we.
So maybe they have never broken. Yeah. We don't know.
We would never know. Except I do usually get complaints about it afterwards, but that's besides the fact.
but no, they've been tried and true. Like, and there's a used market. We buy and sell used too.
Oh, do you? Okay.
So, and that's really the only people that actually have a used market is Roland. Like, you don't see a used market on HP. You don't see a used market on Epson.
It's called eBay.
A little bit on eBay, but Roland did ruin that market for a little bit because they had that huge rebate. So everybody basically got a $6,000 rebate if you bought a new one.
Yeah.
Well, what happened to the used market? Everybody was selling theirs on eBay. We were screwed. We were stuck with machines, but now it's coming around again.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so we sell HP, right? And you guys don't.
Yep.
So one of the things that HP touts, and we talked about just a second ago, is like, you want to have your device, you cut here, print here, cut here, so that you can have more throughput, more whatever, productivity. But a lot of times what we run into is like some people, Signman apparently, like they want it to be one device just because that's what they want, or the space or whatever. And it's hard for me sometimes to wrap my mind around like, well, but this just makes so much more sense. Just do it separately.
yeah, but you got to figure when Signman's working out of his mom's garage, he's going to print it. Mom's making lunch. He's going to go get lunch. He's going to come back and cut it. You don't need that second device. Yeah. But a lot of people, in reality, a lot of people do start right in the garage or their basement or whatever, and they don't need as much time. And, with the exception of the big production shops, they're not, it's not like they're just roll after roll after roll after roll. They're printing some. They have time. They got to let it out gas while they're waiting anyway. So
right.
It's another big difference with latex, right? And so there's like a couple key things where people swing one way or the other. Like the instant lamination that speaks to some people, and some people are like, well, I got time. I'm fine.
Yep. Yep. Well, I think 80% of the people in EchoSolve laminate right away, anyways.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that many shops that actually wait.
Yeah.
Like they're 24 hours or whatever it says. So
yeah,
they do it whether they're supposed to or not, and then complain about like, hey, I got all these bubbles in my print. Might have been outgassing.
Yeah.
So we were talking about some similarities, some differences. So on a different side, right? You guys would be selling Roland. We would be selling HP. Similarities. We would both be selling Epson. We're both going to the DAC show, Decorated Apparel Expo. We were both sell t-shirt printers from Epson as well. On the differences side, you guys offer like same day regional delivery in a way, right? I mean, you order by 4 a.m. and you can still get something?
Yeah, if you order by 4 a.m., you get it basically that same day. So we have someone that comes in the morning, then deliver. Yeah, almost everything's delivered.
And we use like a drop ship where you get, place your order and it shows up via UPS, FedEx, or something like that. So that was like a little bit of a difference. I think we have more of an inside sales approach for most of our business. We have some outside sales for higher end industrial things, and we'll travel and see customers, but primarily it's an inside sales approach, whereas you have reps in the field driving out and doing different things.
Yeah, we have reps at every location, at least a couple reps at every location.
You have
driving out
7 locations, right?
7 locations. Where they're out, just and telling you new products.
No,
like because it's not just like printer. I mean, we're like, okay, there's a new media out. There's a new. There's a lot of stuff that comes out new, and if we're not out there telling them new, they either got to hopefully they find it, or if there's something that's been new for a long time, you walk in the shop, you're like, why are you still using that? You know anything different? So a lot of it's the new stuff.
Yeah, you guys might, I guess you guys would tell me, but on the printer space, right, you're talking about new products every, maybe twice a year. We're talking about new products. In our space, though, we probably have 25 new products a year that are
substrates and that kind of
right?
thing.
Yeah, at ISA, we saw 2 new vinyls there, right? Like, it's like, okay, so that's 2 new things this month. We already probably had, Domingo Sun's at our product release, I bet he sent out already 10 this year to us that it's like, hey, these are new and important things that we're bringing on. So it's frequent enough in our space that, like, if you don't have an outside sales rep, I don't know how exactly you're going to find that out unless you're reading your emails, which, as someone who sends out a lot of emails, knows that not many people are reading them anyways. So, without the reps in the field, I don't know how in our space they're going to hear about it. On your guys' side, I feel like it's probably like, okay, we're going to have to push hard here for this next couple months because there's new products out. That's like every other week on our end, so a little different.
I think we try to reach out more with video content and some of that because we're in a specialty space a lot of times with photo or fine art or whatever, trying to reach every person who's using a photo printer in their house or basement. It's just not feasible to try and be on site with all of them. But if we can get them content to, let's say, this is the new 17-inch Epson printer for photo and do some videos on it and try to do well with that so that they get a sense for this is what's new, this is what's in the market. I think that's one way we're trying to solve that problem in the way that you guys are like on site in sign shops. trying to solve that
Yeah,
problem.
that and all our drivers are our drivers. So it's like it's not a carrier service. So like they work for us.
Yeah.
And, they're incentivized to like, hey, this guy had this guy had that. And then they get to know them too. Like you have, like if you know your UPS guy, like, okay, well, they know our drivers. Some of them know them almost way too well. Like they know their pets' names. They know everything about them. So, but
they spend too
but
much
that's another
time
part
on
of
the
our
delivery.
sales force. Our drivers are really a sales force too. Like, like they're out there promoting us too.
Yeah.
Another difference is like the nationwide versus regional, because we're drop shipping and doing an inside sales model. We're shipping from warehouses all around the country to places all around the country. Whereas, we were talking about, why didn't you do ISA? Well, why would I go do a show in Florida when my business is in the Midwest? And so that's a different,
And we, for the most part, try to stick to it, because especially like if someone in Miami is calling me and they need, a roll of Arlon vinyl, I'm just going to call Economy and say, hey, this guy needs a roll of Arlon. You go sell it to him. Because for me, it's not worth putting it on the, like even shipping it and everything else. Yeah, you're going to get it, but you're never going to keep that. For us, we're never going to keep that customer. It's a one-time sale. Like, I'd rather just give it to them. Maybe he can keep the customer, so I'll push sales off to, friendly competitors.
Yeah. And we're in a business where a lot of our products don't ship, right? Like we're talking 4 foot by 8 foot substrates, right? Like unless you're going to buy a skid, it's not going to ship well, right? And we'll get some of that business and we'll lose it very quickly when they find out someone else can deliver it.
Yeah.
So rather than lose that business, a lot of times it's just like, hey, let's just refer you to somebody who's going to be able to actually fulfill this order for you. We probably could do it, but is it going to be in both of our best interests? Definitely not a chance. So that's kind of like why we're talking about, like, we know our competitors. Like that's a lot of the reason why we know them, right? It's often we're just like, okay, I can't do this order for you, so let's just refer to somebody I know who can do it and we'll do a good job.
Yeah. I think that's so healthy to like have the perspective that I'm not the best answer to every problem out there, right? Like that's why we have healthy competition, like we talked about, is like we solve a lot of problems really well, but there are some things that Wensco's going to do better than us. 4x8s in Grand Rapids, we're not going to do that well. And so I like trying to be everything to everyone seems like a fool's errand. So just trying to really focus in on what we can do well, how we can serve the customers and their needs, and do it the best that we know how.
A fool's errand.
Fool's errand.
Interesting. This is a wise man right here.
The cobbler's shoes.
Yeah.
A fool's errand.
Think of all the stuff that's come up.
Yeah. But I mean, like, with you guys selling HP, like we'll run into situations where somebody's very happy, right, with their HP printer. Like, sure, we talk about Roland. We'd love to sell you Roland, but if you're happy, a lot of times it's like, okay, I'm not here to take that business. If you need anything else, let us know, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you're happy, I don't need to attempt to sell you on something that you don't want to buy. It's just a waste of everyone's time. So I think that goes with it too. Like, oftentimes just realize, like, okay, you're happy. I don't need to take it. Like, if you want to switch later, sure, we're around. But in the meantime, what else do you need, right?
Yeah, we get that. I have to talk with sales reps all the time. Sell what's on the shelf, because they're always like, "Oh, we could get this, we could get that." I'm like, just tell the guy what's on the shelf.
Yeah,
like we don't need to be everything to everybody.
Yeah,
like we have, I think, 10,000 active SKUs,
18,000 active SKUs,
18,000 active SKUs.
Yeah,
like we don't need 19,000. Just sell what's on the shelf.
Yeah.
So those are some of the differences, but we found a decent amount of similarities. I think one was just, we talked about the ownership, right? We're in this, you guys are going into, I think you said Judy is 3rd generation, right? Her grandpa started.
Yes, she's 3rd generation.
So that's 3rd generation. We're into like our 2nd generation. So, just a ownership that really cares for employees. And, I think that's a similar.
I think both our companies are under great management too.
Under great management.
Like it's
another great
it's
similarity.
Unbelievable.
That's
We're both quiet over here.
Everyone's just going for bonus points today. I think that was their whole goal.
Yeah. How many times? Give him some love.
I got nothing.
Yeah. Nothing.
Happy birthday.
You didn't call me right away this morning. I called Tater at
That's true. I did call you and did not say happy birthday.
I think it was 12:15. I texted him happy birthday.
Nice work. You're probably still at the gym.
No, I actually set my alarm and I got up at midnight, but I fell back asleep and I woke back up at 12:15. Texted him.
You're still setting your alarm for midnight just so you can give yourself a happy birthday?
No, my son's birthday's the same day.
Oh.
So like I text him happy birthday. I was going to text him right at midnight, but I fell back asleep before.
It's his favorite son. He doesn't do that to me. I get it at like just before midnight when he remembers.
You're my fourth favorite.
Out of 3.
Yeah. What size text do you use on your phone? Are you at the age where
not
it's
yet.
the bigger?
I'm close.
No?
I'm telling you right, like, well, I just turned 49 today, so I have one more year to have to wear Velcro shoes.
Yeah.
Next year, I'm going to have to start putting Velcro shoes on. So.
All right. So ownership that cares for employees, obviously great management.
You were saying you have about 100 employees, right?
Yeah, a little over 100, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're pushing
give or take on a day.
Yeah.
And we're around 50 employees. So similar, like you have more locations, but similar vibe, I think, within, our office.
Well, we haven't been invited to their office to
That's
be on
true.
their podcast.
Well, if you've
The
seen our
Slightly
studio,
Serious Sign podcast.
If you saw-
if you've seen our studio, you might not fit in our studio. It's a little cramped.
And I will tell you, our plants are way more aggressive.
Yeah, we
You
do.
got a lot more plants.
We have our only plant is a cactus, and it does hurt real bad. So
Gosh. We also have a love for food. I think that's a similarity. You guys brought us some cookies here for the.
Yeah, I did.
he brought you cookies for his birthday. I think he just wanted cookies. I think
we have
that's
to put
actually
like
what
a candle in it, maybe.
We should
No,
sing
no.
to him. Can we put it on your guys' social media?
Happy 49th birthday to you. Yeah, maybe we will. Any other similarities you can think of, Andy?
You guys mentioned how I thought this was cool on one of your podcasts, talking about how a lot of your best customers started as customers that are just, we're in a basement trying to figure things out, start up. And I think we have similar, maybe different markets, but similar types of customers where it's cool to see a customer that needed a lot of help in the beginning and you watch them grow and build into something, bigger.
It's nice to see when you have someone that you helped grow and then you have to call them later to and you're asking them a question like, hey, I know you've done this. Like, how did you do it? So it's weird how it comes full circle like that, where you're helping them in the very beginning where the easy stuff. And then as it gets more complicated, like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
So
I think when we got here, you talked about kind of how IT Supply started and talk about like the reason he kind of started it is he saw a need for people to get service and they basically just got ignored.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where we thrive as well, right? There's smaller customers that maybe some of our competitors don't service real well, right? They prefer to deal with the bigger shops. And we always tell people like we specialize in small to medium sign shops, right? We'll love to deal with large sign shops, right? We do a great job there, but our bread and butter is small to medium, right? 1, 2 owner, family owned, right? Husband and wife, that kind of situation is kind of where we thrive. And I think from hearing your guys' story, it's probably very similar where your specialty is like, hey, somebody that's getting into the business, we have the expertise that says like, hey, we'll show you what you need, not oversell you, not undersell you, and make sure that you have the right equipment for the job. So I think that's probably where we are similar there.
I wonder if, because we talked, I don't know if it was on the last podcast or what, this maker market, right, that Roland and Epson are both kind of going towards with smaller UV printers, smaller DTG, DTF type printers. And that customer a lot of times is just starting out and needs a lot of help. And there's a lot to learn there. And it'll be interesting to see if some of our expertise, if that market needs the help and hand holding, what you've done for the sign industry, if we're able to bring that to a different type of customer, and what we've done with the photo industry, if we can take that same learnings, different process to address a new market. Everyone is looking for someone that knows what they're doing to help them when they're getting started. Right. So can we be that for a different market?
For the Somo Mojo market?
The Mojo market.
The Mojo market. I like that. We should trademark that one. It'd be a good one. We have no idea what it stands for, but we'll just make up an acronym later. But no, I think you're right. I think it's like on our end, it's almost an investment with some of these smaller customers, right? Because like the equipment we're going to sell them to start is so small and the dollar numbers are so small that like the amount of time we're putting into it is so small. It wouldn't be worth our time to just sell you that equipment. If that was all we were ever going to do with you, most of us would probably pass up on the sale, financially speaking, at least.
Right.
But you're really just making an investment that was like, hey, you're on a path here. Let's get you set up and let's hope that you grow, because that's the only way really I'm going to make any money is if you also make money. So I think that's kind of what our goal is always with the smaller customers. It's like, okay, our goal is to make you grow, because if you grow, we grow. That's how it works. Yeah. So that's our goal every day, basically.
Yeah.
All right, so there are a lot of similarities and differences in the business, but I mean, we talked about this before, which is, healthy competition is better for everyone in the market. Us competing with you and you guys running a solid business, us trying to run a solid business, it keeps us better, but at the same time, it's better for the customer.
Yeah, I agree. So when we talk about competition, I had a question for you guys. If you're going to play any sport, IT supplies versus Wensco, what sport would you guys choose? What do you think what do you think IT supplies in sports wise could beat Wensco Science Supplies in?
You two, or is 2-on-2?
Company-wide.
Company-wide.
Or two, it could be a 2-on-2, or it could be like you pick.
So our company is pretty good at minute to win it type games. So we set up like an obstacle type course where there's like 5 or 6 different things and you don't know what's happening. You got to balance something, get a ping pong ball. I would take our company at that.
I would probably take your company at that too. If there's any thinking involved, we lost. Wensco lost.
We're pretty good at bags.
Oh, that's going to be a hard one for you.
Yeah.
We got Mingo.
Not me.
Or it's going to be a hard
We
one.
we have some people that are.
Yeah, you have Lynn.
We have some ringers.
Miranda, the guy that did Hamilton. What's the guy's name?
Adam. Is that what he's talking about?
I don't know who he's talking
He was
about.
at ISA playing bags with you.
Oh, Domingo.
Oh, that's Domingo. That's Domingo. He can play some bags. Domingo can play some bags. There's some other guys can play some bags.
I think I'm pretty decent at bags, and we played at ISA, and I think I scored 5 total points in 2 games versus him. So
okay,
wow.
And that I probably scored 150 points. He just canceled them every time.
He canceled them off.
I suck at any game that's like precision based. It ain't just like
you want to just deadlift.
Yeah, that's right. Precision, safety, that kind of stuff just costs you time. So I don't deal with anything precision wise.
That's his strategy in basketball is just to knock people down. And then the basket's open. He's got at least 2 or 3 attempts to make his layup. So that's the strategy.
Would you rather play chess or checkers or tic-tac-toe?
Depends who I'm playing against. If
Yeah.
I'm playing against someone that's really stupid, I'll play chess. But I usually can read him. If you let me talk to him 3 minutes, I'll let you know.
I played a lot of chess, and I'm still just terrible. I can't figure it out. So probably.
What about like barbecue or Chinese?
Just, off the cuff here.
Off the cuff, I'm part Chinese, so I prefer Chinese.
Barbecue.
Oh, man.
Barbecue.
I supported Tyler on Chinese.
That's true.
I was married when I was a Chinese waiter.
Is that right? So you lived through the Chinese days.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean,
I don't know if you were a Chinese waiter. I think you might have been a waiter at a Chinese restaurant. I don't know if that's
probably accurate. Yeah.
I just didn't say
It's just
it right.
semantics, though. Really. I mean,
That's it, right?
We got to wrap this podcast
All right,
up. We're all going to get canceled somehow.
Yeah.
We should definitely wrap it up. Thank you for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed the last couple episodes of us collabing together with some friendly competitors. Thanks for making the trip down.
Yeah.
This is the extended Gamut Podcast with the Slightly Serious Sign Podcast. Thanks again. You can find us on all the usual channels.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thanks
much.
for having us.